Legends of Tomorrow is probably one of my favorite TV shows. I love the wacky and occasionally serious tone mixed with great characters. Or at least, I used to. In this three-part video series, I will be talking about the reasons I feel Legends of Tomorrow got better, but sadly started getting worse once again after Season 3. I will also be discussing what I see as positive and negative bits of each season and how they affect my enjoyment overall. With that being said, on to Season 2 and the rise of Legends of Tomorrow. Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow is great, but not perfect. The story was unique for the time, and had a great lineup of heroes both returning and new, as well as some amazing villains. Yes, I know, I'm amazing at segues. The villains of this season are amazing, especially the Reverse Flash, also known as Eobard Thawne. Eobard was the main villain of Season 1 of The Flash, and was thought to be dead. But it turns out a previous version of Eobard was time traveling, which allowed him to escape the erasure. It really only makes sense if you watch the show. Eobard is intimidating with his super speed and amazing acting by Matt Lesher. One of the best parts of the story, though, centers around the Black Flash, who is an amoral time wraith that tracks down people who abuse time to erase them. This twist happens in episode 10 of the season, also known as the Legion of Doom. In this episode, the other two villains of the Legion, Damien Darhk and Malcolm Merlyn, confront Eobard about their problems with the Legion, and ask him why he never stays in one place. Suddenly, his watch beeps, so he is forced to tell them everything. Turns out the Black Flash is after Eobard because he is not meant to exist. Again, it makes sense if you watch The Flash Season 1. Then, suddenly, Black Flash appears to erase Eobard. Thankfully, the Legion comes up with a plan to fool it. You see, Black Flash tracks road speedsters by detecting their Speed Force energy, since speedsters use the Speed Force even when they slightly move. That means the only way to make it so Black Flash will not erase Eobard is for him to stand completely still. This then leads to one of the most intense scenes, where Black Flash has his face a centimeter away from Eobard's, and stands there, thinking for what feels like hours, until he finally leaves. The scene and plotline is paid off in another one of my favorite scenes, this time from the finale. In the finale, Eobard has the Legends trapped using speed devils. So he decides, hey, now is the perfect time to monologue. And so he does. Eobard starts monologuing about how the Legends thought they could beat him, and how he is unstoppable with the Spear of Destiny. This, though, is exactly what Captain of the Legends, Sarah Lance, wants. As out of nowhere, Black Flash appears. Within seconds, he plunges his hand through Eobard's chest, erasing that version from the timeline, and effectively killing him. Except for when he comes back later in other shows, but that's a problem for a different day. I feel both of these scenes demonstrate how Legends can not only write a good villain, but also build up to a good payoff. But Eobard is not the only villain of the season. There are also three others: Damien Darhk, Malcolm Merlyn, and Captain Cold, aka Leonard Snart, who is introduced later into the season. Honestly, none of these villains do anything very notable, and I'm mostly okay with that. Damien got his time to shine in Season 3 of Legends. Malcolm already wasted enough time in the TV show Arrow, and Leonard, we'll talk about that later. That's really it for the villains, though. So on to the next topic. Amazing segue. Rip Hunter has an interesting story throughout this season. It technically starts in episode 1, but after that it doesn't get picked back up until episode 9, where it is revealed that he is, in fact, not dead. Rip has been changed, though. He thinks he is a completely different person and lived a completely different life. His name is also Phil. Just thought I should mention that. So Phil is kidnapped by the Legion and used to open his vault in a mysterious bank. In Rip's vault is a databank of his former memories. The Legion decides to alter the memories of Rip so he will be evil. This honestly led to one of my favorite stories of the entire season, Evil Rip. He is such an amazing antagonist, as well as being very threatening, which is made even better thanks to an amazing performance by Arthur Darvill. Rip even almost kills one of his closest friends, Sarah, in an incredibly emotional and intense scene. In fact, he would have, if it weren't for the ship's AI, Gideon, being able to heal her. Then, in episode 10, we get good Rip's time to shine, as the legends enter Rip's mind to try and restore his memories to what they used to be. At first, Rip seems helpless, but throughout the episode, he realizes how much power he actually has and reclaims his mind. Overall, Rip Hunter is not only one of the best characters of the season, but also the series. Let's flash back to the start of the season. The first episode starts with historian Nate Haywood bursting into Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow's office. Nate tells Oliver, who is good friends with the Legends, that they are in trouble. Turns out the Legend ship, the Wave Rider, was hit with a nuke off the coast of New York in 1942, 3 years before the first atomic bomb was even invented. Oliver and Nate go down where they think the Wave Rider supposedly crashed and find Mick Rory, aka Heatwave, who is a member of the Legends and is in stasis in the medbay. They wake up Mick and he tells them everything. The TLDR of it is that the Legends had to save New York from being blown up by an atomic bomb that Einstein's wife was forced to build. The only way they could save New York is to use the Wave Rider to absorb the blast. Rip, who was captain at the time, scattered all the Legends throughout time, except Mick, as he had sustained injuries that made it impossible for him to be scattered without dying. So Rip knocks out Mick and puts him in stasis in the medbay, right before touching the ship's time core, seemingly killing himself. But as we know, that's not true. After Mick reveals all this, he and Nate go rescue the other Legends who are scattered throughout time, then go back to 1942 to make it so Einstein and his wife never divorced, effectively stopping them and the unknown villains from ever getting an atomic bomb in the first place. As the Legends leave the newly fixed 1942, they are ambushed by the Justice Society of America. In the next episode, the Justice Society defeats and locks up the Legends. Now pause. Back in the season 1 finale, a hologram of someone named Rex Tyler appeared to the Legends. He told them, "If you go back to 1942, you're all gonna die." So when they find out that Rex is the leader of the JSA, they try to convince him to let them out. Their plan fails, however, as Rex has no memory of ever contacting the Legends. But plot convenience strikes again, as Nate is actually the grandson of another one of the members of the JSA, Commander Steele, aka Henry Haywood. Nate proves this by showing Henry the military dog tags he inherited from his dad, who inherited them from Henry himself. Fast forward to the end of the episode, where Nate and Henry are riding on a motorcycle, outrunning the main villain, until he eventually gets blown up by a bomb strike. Nate and Henry celebrate, but that is cut short. You see, something I failed to mention before is that Nate is a hemophiliac, which basically means his blood's ability to clot is severely diminished. So while Henry is hurt, Nate is badly wounded to the point where there is basically no way to save him. That is until Ray Palmer, another member of the Legends, injects Nate with a serum that was actually set up earlier in the episode. Wow, what a rare occurrence. Legends actually foreshadowing something? Look at them, improving little by little. Anyway, Ray gives Nate the serum, and it saves him. At the end of the same episode, however, something terrible happens. Reverse Flash appears and kills Rex Tyler. Oh no, not... what's his name? Rex Tyler? That's it. His girlfriend, Amaya, finds him dying and tells her the vaguest thing he could have said. Time traveler. He could have said so many other things, but no, it had to be time traveler. Not yellow time traveler, red eyes, or even my favorite, red lightning. In fact, red lightning probably would have worked almost exactly the same. Mine could have been like, oh well, I'll just go ask my new superhero friends who are also time travelers if they know anyone with red lightning so I can find them and kill them. But no, Rex says time traveler, which leads Amaya to think the Legends killed Rex, as one of their members is a thief, and another one is an ex-assassin. So Amaya stows away on the Legend ship just before they leave. Fast forward to the next episode where Amaya joins the Legends and Nate figures out he has steel powers. And that's really it until the second half of the season. In the second half of the season, the Legends must hunt down the 4 pieces of the Spear of Destiny. It turns out Rip Hunter tasked some members of the Justice Society to hide the pieces of the spear before he formed the Legends. The Legends must now hunt down the rest of the pieces of the spear using a medallion. Save her when they restored Rip's memories, and he just told them. So the Legends do their usual missions for the first 3 pieces, and nothing major happens. That is, until their 4th mission. On their 4th mission, they must retrieve the 4th piece from the moon. And the man who planted it there is none other than Commander Steel himself, Henry Haywood. Nate's mission throughout the episode is to make sure Henry stays safe and is able to return to 1942. Unfortunately, his plane goes haywire when the Legends need to land the Wave Rider back on Earth. In order to do this, however, someone must open the cargo bay door, as the depressurization will correct their path to Earth. But that would also mean said person's death. Without even a second of hesitation, Henry runs to the cargo bay so his grandson and his team can live, whilst keeping the timeline the same. Nate, however, thinks he should be the one to make the sacrifice, so he chases after Henry. Sadly, Nate is too late, as Henry has already locked himself in the cargo bay. Nate has to sit there and watch as his plan fails and his grandfather sacrifices himself. I think this story is amazing, and it has some of my favorite characters in it. The storyline is one of the reasons why I think Season 2 is great. However, that doesn't mean everything is amazing. Towards the end of the season, they bring back Leonard Snart as Captain Cold, who is a main character from Season 1. The only problem is the story he features in is terrible. So in Episode 8, Mick starts having hallucinations of Leonard. These hallucinations are really just doubts Mick has about being a legend. This is until Episode 15, where Leonard reappears. But this time, he's real. Leonard manages to convince Mick to join the Legion of Doom, even though Mick only had 1 episode of doubt, and that was 7 episodes ago. So Mick joins the Legion because he can start robbing banks with Leonard again. So at the end of the episode, Mick gives the Legion the spear, and they rewrite the world. But it turns out, Mick no longer likes being a part of the Legion, as robbing banks isn't fun anymore. This is because the police no longer try to arrest them when they rob places. So Mick turns back to the Legends and rescues them all, as well as restoring their memories. Because, for some reason, the Legion let the Legends continue to exist in this new reality. I cannot tell you how much I hate this story. It's an exact copy of Mick's story in Season 1, except somehow worse. Somehow, it's worse than something from Season 1. At least in Season 1, Mick's reason for turning back was because he cared about the Legends. This time, it's just because, oh, robbing banks is boring. The police don't even try to arrest us. But guess what? There's more. It's okay. It's just a stupid CW show. So Ray's story from the first half of the season is horrible. It's about Ray trying to be someone without the Atom suit, as Amaya told him in Episode 2 that he isn't a real hero. So in Episode 3, Ray must destroy his suit, aka his life's work, in order to save the team. Then, in the next episode, nothing happens with the story. Then, in Episode 5, Ray tries to replace Captain Cold, for some reason, even though the whole point of the arc is that Ray's trying to find out who he is. Then Ray rebuilds the suit in the next episode. I just like this arc because Ray shows almost no character development. He literally just loses his suit and then gets it back a couple episodes later. There's also the standard CW relationship drama, but with a Legends twist. Such as, oh Amaya, I love you, but you have to return to 1942. Oh no, I love you. I love you too, but I gotta go back to 1942. Nah, let's just live together and not care about your granddaughter's existence because we're selfish. Okay. Overall, Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, even with all of its faults, is pretty good. My favorite character is Rip Hunter. Likewise, his storyline is also my favorite. My favorite episode was definitely Land of the Lost, and my least favorite was Compromised. Speaking of least favorite, my least favorite character was definitely Mick, and likewise, his storyline about Leonard was the worst of the season in my opinion. Overall, I rate this season a 7.5 out of 10, because I couldn't decide between 8 and 7, so 7.5. Hi, so, hope you liked that video. I worked on it for a while. I had a lot of trouble with motivation for it, and I don't really like the script was structured. Since I literally wrote it like probably like half a year ago, I want to say, if even a little longer. I also don't know if I'm gonna ever do a part 2 or 3 of this series. I might, but I also have other ideas that I really want to do. Um, so yeah, uh, no more story times probably. Because those give me even less motivation. I kind of hate doing them. As you can see, no more intro either, and I was that freaking outro, whatever chocolate milk thing, dumb. I can't even drink chocolate milk without getting a stomach ache anymore. But yeah, so hope you liked the video. Goodbye.